I'm just putting it on YouTube.
Okay.
So this next chapter is called Patience. And I could do with some more patience sometimes. So I'll be interested to see what it says.
What I notice is patience is when I can call it out is it's really refreshing. Like, oh, don't have to be tense about this. You
Yeah.
can just relax. The line is flowing. I will get my groceries home. You know that.
Yeah. That sounds nice.
So, as my gift to you, I offer infinite patience.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I can see with
welcome.
infinite patience. I lose my patience when like Eshan does things continuously to my body. Like he keeps like, like pushing me or something. And then I'm saying like, you have to stop, you have to stop. And then, but he doesn't listen. He's gone through a phase like he doesn't listen when I'm telling him to stop. So if he's doing it over there, it's fine. But like when it's my body and I feel like I can kind of feel like I don't want him to do it. And like I definitely lose my patience. Like I get angry when I told him already like 5 times, like you have to stop, which is it's kind of appropriate as well. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He needs you to help him set a boundary. So
yes, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
I love hearing Amba's voice. Would you like to read?
I would love to read. Okay, patience. All the good works gathered in 1,000 ages, such as deeds of generosity and offerings to the blissful ones. A single flash of anger shatters them. Oh no. I know. No evil is there similar to anger, no austerity to be compared with patience. Steep yourself, therefore, in patience, in various ways, insistently. Those tormented by the pain of anger never know tranquility of mind. Strangers they will be to every pleasure. They will neither sleep nor feel secure. Even those dependent on their Lord for gracious gifts of honours and of wealth will rise against and slay a master who is filled with wrath and hate. His family and friends he grieves, and is not served by those his gifts attract. No one is there, all in all, who, being angry, lives at ease. All these ills are brought about by wrath, our sorrow-bearing enemy. But those who seize and crush their anger down will find their joy in this and future lives. Getting what I do not want, and all that hinders my desire. In discontent, my anger finds its fuel. From this it grows and beats me down.
We
Therefore,
need to dwell on that a little bit because he's talking about the source of anger here.
okay.
And I'm hearing wanting. I'm hearing wanting. Like I
Mm.
really insist that things be a certain way. And because of
Mm.
that wanting and the mismatch,
Yeah, it's like that, but I didn't even hear that there.
hmm,
See, this is what I need to learn. I was actually feeling like I'm not gonna really have any insights here because this is what I need to learn. This is like
ah,
I do like get angry in not in like many situations, but definitely in like that kind of situation that I gave, and I don't know, maybe similar situations, but it's usually things like that. It's usually when my son doesn't listen. So it's like I want him to behave a certain way. And it's usually in a much more calm way than he's behaving. So it's usually when he has like crazy kind of energy or something. Um, but yeah, But the thing is, sometimes patience does flow out, so it's not really because of that. So you can blame your external environment, but that's not really going to help you, I don't think. Or in this case, me. It's not really going to help me to say, well, he's doing that. And like many people, the thing is, there'll always be people that agree with you if you tell them. So if I tell people my story, this is what makes me angry, there'll be many people that will be like, yeah, and you should be angry, you know. And this is like it's righteous anger. And like on some level, like I think anger is okay. If it just comes and goes, like or that's not even real anger, you know that it's not good if it's uh disturbing your own equilibrium, because there is a way of being angry that doesn't disturb your own equilibrium, so because I've seen it in myself in different scenarios. So the very same situation, let's say with my son, um because it is appropriate to say like stop, and you have to stop, and you're not allowed to throw things in my face like repeatedly. This is something he does sometimes. Um, so it could be like, just stop it now. And then like maybe he'll just stop then. um, and then like it's just so it just kind of flows out and that's it. But there's another way, it's like it's kind of like building up. It's like it's building up, it's building up, it's building up, and then like I'm angry, but then I'm still angry, even maybe he's behaving perfectly then, but still the anger is still inside. Like, and then I'm angry that I've become angry. Like I'm angry at myself for being angry. So then it's just like
Mm.
and I do see that it's not really about the situation, because sometimes the very same thing happens and I'm like super patient. I'm just like, okay, now we're just going to do this, and I'll be talking very calmly, and he'll be behaving totally the same way. But I'll be just like guiding him out of it in like a different way. And like, I might be just like, okay, you have to stop this now, and this is not acceptable. But I'll be very calm and very patient. And, in those situations, I feel like patience is needed, because it's not like just a 1 second affair. It's a thing that goes on for long. So it's like patience is needed. Um, so usually here, it's like there's already something maybe brewing up. Maybe the anger is already there, really, to be honest. Like we have different feelings inside, so it's already there. And then this situation shows us that we're there, that it's there. So like the way you said, your son needs you to set a boundary.
Set a boundary, yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's why maybe he's behaving like that. But maybe I also need life to show me, that there's anger here. So I need to, whatever I need to do with that, like there's millions of different things that you can do. Um,
Patience does feel, for me at this point, as
mhm.
a function of maturity, and kind of goes
Yeah.
along with retirement and
Hmm.
peeling off a whole lot of layers. Does
Hmm.
does the opposites he's setting up here in the early part of this chapter feel accurate to you, that anger and patience are the correctly described set of opposites?
I don't know. I have to say, I just read them. Maybe it's like whatever mood I'm in today. It hasn't like nothing. I don't know.
Okay.
Like it hasn't like no kind of insights are like going out or anything. So I don't
Okay.
know.
I
But like
forget.
you, maybe I have no insights on patience because I haven't got enough patience yet.
Okay.
So I'm very happy for you to share any insights that are coming.
No, I was really asking an open-ended question there.
Yeah.
And it does it
So what was the
they
question?
do well, the open-ended question was, does that feel like an accurate description, where, is anger the correctly described opposite of patience? Because, he's coming to patience.
Well, here that's the way I see it.
Okay.
Because like if it's something like other things, I don't like. Let's say you use the example. So maybe you would normally get angry in a situation like that of being in a supermarket, but I can wait in queues and all. And I guess I do have a memory now though of waiting in a queue a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, waiting in a queue and kind of feeling a little bit. So I don't know what it kind of is angry, like you're kind of feeling like unsettled. And that's like a low level of angry if you're not patient in the queue. Like it is kind of anger, yeah, as well. It's kind of like I don't want to be here. This queue should be moving faster. What's taking them so long? All these kind of things, isn't it? Like it should be different than how it is, and I'm not happy with how it's flowing. So it is anger. And how I see my own impatience is the opposite, is always anger. So it's like either anger or patience. And when you are patient, you don't really think I'm patient. Well, sometimes you do. Sometimes it's like at the end, it's like, oh, I'm so grateful that that level of patience was here. Yeah. So yeah, it does. I don't know what else it could be, like anger and patience. I don't know. Another person, if there was another person here, we had a group, they could maybe suggest that there's another thing. But yeah, I see
Yeah,
anger and
sure.
patience good.
Mm,
Mhm. So where am I? 7?
I think 7.
Getting what I do not want, and all that hinders my desire. In discontent, my anger finds its fuel. From this it grows and beats me down. Therefore, I will utterly destroy the sustenance of this my enemy, my foe who has no other purpose but to hurt and injure me. So, come what may, I'll not upset my cheerful happiness of mind. Dejection never brings me what I want. My virtue will be warped and marred by it. If there's a remedy when trouble strikes, what reason is there for dejection? And if there is no help for it, what use is there in being glum? Pain, humiliation, insults, or rebukes. We do not want them, either for ourselves or those we love. For those we do not like, it's the reverse. The cause of happiness is rare, and many are the seeds of suffering. But if I have no pain, I'll never long for freedom. Therefore, O my mind, be steadfast. I like that. If I have no pain, I'll never long for freedom. It's true.
As you were reading, I remembered some times where Cornelia and I had visited a Buddhist center,
Mhm.
and what we noticed is just how happy the people there were.
Yeah.
Like, wow, people
Yeah.
seem really happy here.
Mhm.
These are the kind of folks we want around us, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
naturally.
Mhm. Mm. The Karna folk and those devoted to the goddess endure the meaningless austerities of being cut and burned. So why am I so timid on the path of freedom? There's nothing that does not grow light through habit and familiarity. Putting up with little cares, I'll train myself to bear with great adversity. Don't I see that this is so with common irritations, bites and stings of snakes and flies, experiences of hunger and of thirst, and painful rashes on my skin, heat and cold, the wind and rain, sickness, prison, beatings. I'll not fret about such things. To do so only aggravates my trouble. There are some whose bravery increases at the sight of their own blood, while some lose all their strength and faint when it's another's blood they see. This results from how the mind is set, in steadfastness or cowardice. And so I'll scorn all injury, and hardship I will disregard. When sorrows fall upon the wise, their minds should be serene and undisturbed, for in their war against defiled emotion, many are the hardships as in every battle. Thinking scorn of every pain and vanquishing such foes as hatred, these are exploits of victorious warriors. The rest is slaying what is dead already. Suffering also has its worth. Through sorrow, pride is driven out, and pity felt for those who wander in samsara. Evil is avoided, goodness seems delightful. I am not angry with my bile and other humours, fertile source of suffering and pain. So why should living beings give offence? They likewise are impelled by circumstance. Although they are unlooked for, undesired, these ills affect us all the same, and likewise, though unwanted and unsought, defilements nonetheless insistently arise. Never thinking, now I will be angry. People are impulsively caught up in anger. Irritation, likewise, comes, though never plans to be experienced. All defilements of whatever kind, the whole variety of evil deeds, are brought about by circumstances. None is independent, none autonomous. Conditions once assembled have no thought that they will now give rise to some result, nor does that which is engendered think that it has been produced. The primal substance, as they say, and that which has been called the self, do not arise designedly, and do not think I will become. For that which is not born does not exist. So what could want to come to be? And permanently drawn toward its objects, it can never cease from being so. Indeed, this self, if permanent, is certainly inert like space itself, and should it meet with other factors, how could they affect it since it is unchanging? If, when conditions act on it, it stays just as it was before, what influence have these conditions had? They say that these are agents of the self, but what connection could there be between them? All things, then, depend on other things, and these likewise depend, they are not independent. Knowing this, we will not be annoyed at things that are like magical appearances. Did you get that?
Well, the thought that comes from that verse and a few before them
Mm-hmm.
are he's just taking us by the hand and guiding us towards effortless self-control is kind of
Mm.
how it feels.
So
And
it's
there's some.
mm.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to understand. Like, so the last verse is easy to understand, but they all went together, kind of. So is he saying that all these things, like everything, is just coming out of nowhere?
The short answer I think is yes. The longer answer leads us into a deep philosophical, uh, theory of knowledge
Mm,
discussion, which I think is really way beyond the scope here and calls for us to be Buddhist
yeah,
scholars and to play a particular game which we didn't sign up
yeah.
for.
The way it's written is quite hard for my mind to understand. I don't really understand, but like just when I read that last verse, then it becomes simple. It's like all things then depend on other things, and these likewise depend, they are not independent. Knowing this, we will not be annoyed at things that are like magical appearances. So basically, like everything that appears, it's basically he's saying that everything is interconnected and it's all one. So if you're there, if this is here, so I'm thinking like Eshan is behaving like this thing that annoys me, but like he's behaving like that and it's not separate from something else happened earlier in the day, or it's not different than the birds singing outside. It's not different than the waves rolling in the other side of the world. Like everything is interdependent, and like it can only like one thing really. See, we say that something shouldn't be, but how can we say that one thing shouldn't be and something else should be? Because everything is interconnected. Like that's it. But this is what we do that makes us angry.
Mm.
You know, that's what he's been describing. So we're saying that something shouldn't be, and then we get irritated. And what you were saying as well before we started to read the verse. So then then he's saying like everything is just an appearance really. And everything is kind of a magical appearance, but it's all one. So why would we let that unsettle us? And that we shouldn't let it unsettle us. So of course if you see it like this, then it's not going to unsettle unsettle us. Yeah.
I think Shanti Deva just so has so cultivated this patience that
Mm,
it's just effortless for him guide us that direction, which is,
mm,
again, ultimately what he's doing here. For
mm,
verse 28 in my electronic copy here,
mm.
yeah, if at the end of that verse, I have footnote number 77, and if I hit it with my thumb, I get what is a long paragraph that I
Okay.
don't want to read that talks about the Shamkaya theory of Purusha and Prakriti. I'd
Okay.
rather keep it on the level of the conversation. It's just a lot nicer, a lot
Yeah.
nicer to be here with you than to try and dive deeply into philosophical issues.
Yeah. We're not scholars.
No,
Here.
no,
We
and
want to
not
read
not
it.
even
And
playing them on TV.
yeah, and it should be as well that you can just pick up a book like this and it's not for a scholar, it's just for like anybody, and that's why like whenever I read things, I like to just read it and if it makes sense, then it makes sense. And if it doesn't, just let it go. Or just let it flow through me. And sometimes it can be like, you read something and then it can be like a year later or something. Those words just pop up and like they have meaning. Like I've seen that happen in me. Like I'm just reading. I used to read A Course in Miracles, and mostly when that was a long time ago, but when I was reading that, mostly didn't understand anything that it was saying. But I just read it, and I didn't have somehow I had that then as well, that I didn't have the sense that I needed to know or understand. So I just let it flow through me, through me, through me. And then I was finished. And like months later, then words would just pop up, and I'd be like, oh yeah. But they'd come with like a insightful feeling. Oh yeah, it's good.
That
So
that's Go ahead, please finish.
no, just it reinforces that kind of trust in that, like, we don't really need to try to work it all out. Like, I don't need to be reading this and like try to know and like, oh, I have to look up what the footnote is. I need to know what this word means. I need to know this.
Yeah.
Just if you're drawn to it, just read it and like just take from it what you do in the moment. And if you don't get anything from it, then it's not for you. If you get one little thing, then that one little thing is all that's for you. So like everyone gets different things. So maybe some people might listen to this and they might get more than what we get, and they might get something totally different, and that's totally okay. Because we're all in different places. Like, so maybe verse like 26 speaks to me, and maybe verse 20 speaks to someone else, and verse like 19 speaks to you. And like, and just like this says, we're all interdependent, and it just needs to be, everything is exactly how it needs to be.
Mm.
All of this magical appearance. I like when it talks about things like magical appearances. That's my kind of language.
You've referenced Course in Miracles almost every time we've been together, and it's enough to make me
Okay.
want to consider doing it myself. But it did, I think, in this case, prove the point of, taking what meaning there is to be easily plucked.
Mm,
And, who knows? Maybe
yeah.
sometime later, that meaning somehow hits home and comes through, and you go, oh, yeah,
Yeah. So I see we have a lot more verses to go,
we
but
do.
maybe
We do.
because we've been talking and all, will we stop here? Wow, it's a very really long verse. This is gonna take us like 3 weeks or something. That's a good
Oh,
place to end, I think, because it was kind of a lot of those verses, they went together. Like they weren't
sure.
really
Y-
standalone verses, it was like a
Yeah.
whole big story, he said.
Yeah. So we're
So I
about
think it's a
30
good
in.
place to, yeah.
Oh, and I just, I want this to take forever to get all the way through. I so love being with you. So
Oh, yeah. I had a thought there. It's like we should come back and read it again in like 10 years. It's like maybe I'll have a lot more insights about patience then.
maybe in 10 years you'll be reading something else and you'll say, I was with Steve 10 years ago reading
Yeah.
reading The Way of the Bodhisattva, and then just
Yeah.
yesterday something bubbled up and got all kinds of great value from it.
Mm, yeah.
Hmm. So it's a beautiful day here, and we're
Mhm.
working a little bit on the balcony where there is metal fencing put up so that A, we don't fall over, and B, we can give ourselves a little privacy. And we're working to make
Mm,
that a little more enclosed so we can step through the sliding door and have our coffee and outdoor privacy.
mm.
So that's kind of what's up here today.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, and also Lagos is 450 years old this month.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, so it's a bit of a teenager as far as old cities go.
Yeah.
And there's a celebration about a kilometer from here that's ongoing through the weekend that we'll probably wander through once again.
Mm,
I'll send a few pictures so you can
mm,
get a sense of the jubilation that's happening.
mm. It looks like Portugal suits you well. You look very happy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm feeling really, really lucky. And
Yeah.
we have visitors scheduled for later in the year.
Hmm.
An old couple where he is the guy who actually married us is coming to visit in
Wow.
September. And then my mom in October, and another friend from our old neighborhood is likely to visit us in between there. And then the girls are coming, our daughters are coming for
Mm.
Christmas. So
Oh,
we're
okay.
excited about all of that.
Yeah. And will this be their first time coming to visit either?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. They've
Great.
been to Europe before, but not as far
Not
south
here.
this year. Yeah,
Oh, okay. That sounds fun.
yeah,
A lot of visitors coming.
yeah, yeah. Someone to sort of show around and be a host for a little bit.
Yeah. Enjoy. So I wish you a month full of patience. And maybe this month will be like dedicated to it feels like vigilant introspection and patience. They do go
Yeah.
together. Like, vigilant introspection is needed the whole time, because if you don't have patience and you don't have vigilant introspection, then you're lost. Because then it means like it's just like you're letting your anger kind of take over. But if vigilant introspection is there, at least you can say, okay, this is what happened, and you can kind of look a bit closer and you can see, okay, what might be better? Like maybe I need to like slow down, take a breath, whatever you need to do.
Well, the choice there is, do you want to chase the wild elephant through the town, or
Yeah,
do you want to have a bath with him by the
yeah.
river?
Mm. Sometimes when you read about things or when you just hear a concept, like it sounds very simple and it is very simple, but usually in like to apply it to your life, it's usually not as simple as that somehow because I don't know why, but it's not. And if it was that simple, like everybody would be going around enlightened, but they're not. And even like most of the people that are in spirituality are also not, you know, as well. So it does take a lot of dedication and a lot of focus and a lot of really like totally giving yourself to. So like to be a bodhisattva, you've basically it means that you have to totally give yourself all the time. Like you're really giving yourself to everybody. Oh yeah, I don't know what this thing is. This is something I don't know what it is. I pressed some app the other day. I'll fix it. It's not a
Okay,
person anyway.
okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so to be a bodhisattva, it really means that you're giving yourself to everybody else, isn't it? You're in service to everybody, but that's the same as giving yourself to God
Mm,
because you're recognizing the unity and everything. So all that's here is this. It's all that's here, and you're here in service to that. You're not living for like a separate ego. You don't choose because you see that that's just a made up false thing. Why would you live for like a made up story when you could live for reality?
mm. Well,
Anyway,
I'm gonna keep Ambo's smile with me until next month.
yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video and figure out what this read AI meeting thing is.
Okay.
Nice.
I wanted to say that maybe the true test, if you will, not
Yeah,
that there has to be one, but
yeah.
when driving in traffic, like I don't drive much in a car, but when I get behind the wheel, suddenly, the whole thing can change, right? So the test is, can I drive